It's Grady and Big Joe on FM 107.5 and 1070 The Fan.
Grady and Big Joe Show, 107.5, 1070 The Fan. Appreciate you joining us. And I'm so glad we have our main man, Coach Rick Venturi. And we need you today, Coach. We need you today, Coach, because Big Joe, for the first time in a very long time, is scared about an opponent. He is scared about the Texans,
You
Coach.
know me better than that, Coach.
I do. This is Blueprint Friday. There's nothing to be totally scared about, but I do think that it is I do think this team is better than its 0-3 record. And I think that Michael, particularly on defense, they come in here with the 8th-ranked offense and the 20th-ranked defense or 18th-ranked defense. But their defense is really full of a lot of good players. Two really outstanding, what I would call blue chip or ambient guys, and they are coming into their own. They haven't been together. They missed last season together. But this was a team that in 2016, when all these same characters were healthy, was the number one team in the league. So they're capable of a really good afternoon. And unfortunately, J.J. Watt he didn't get the rust off. He polished it off last week. I mean, last week was vintage Watt, maybe as good as I've ever seen him. I mean, it was 3 sacks. He had tackles for losses. I mean, he had rundowns on the run. I mean, he was just really, quarterback hits besides the sack. He was a one-man wrecking crew. And they did play without Clowney. Clowney's not off to a great start, but he's the other blue chipper who, pretty much, will line up on the edge. But he had the great year last year. He's another guy. Watt has like 67 sacks and 42 deflections. Clowney has he's a much shorter career, but he has 20 sacks and 10 deflections. I mean, those guys really get their hands on a lot of balls. So, yeah, they're good there. I think Reeder's a decent nose tackle. I like 3 guys in their secondary. I like Joseph a lot, although T.Y. has done a good job. T.Y. has been tougher on him than anybody. And I really like their 2 safeties. They moved Jackson back there from the corner. They may have to get him back, though, because they're struggling at one side. But Jackson, Honey Badger Matthew are 2 very outstanding guys. So there's some blue chippers and some red chippers there. And, Romeo's capable of putting up a good game plan. I think the biggest thing in this game, and I think it applies both to our offense and defense, is if it's a perfect world this week, we establish a lead, we get it, and we get on top of them early. And I say that for 2 reasons, technically. Everybody wants a lead. That's not rocket science. But it would do 2 things to them. The best they are is not so much on first down. I think you can run it on them on first down. I think you can run inside the tackles. You have to pinch those 2 guys I'm talking about, but you can get it up in there quick. You can work on their linebackers, definitely work on their left corner. But when they get really good is when they get 2nd and long and 3rd and long. And the reason they get really good is 2 things. One, that's when they start moving guys around. Watt may now be anywhere. He could be on Slauson. He could be on Good. He could come back over on the other side, and line up on Clark. I mean, he can line up anywhere. This is what they do. Same way with Clowney. Clowney will be standing up. He could be at the last minute right on top of Kelly. And then they give you a lot of that, what I call sugar stuff, where they get up on 3rd down and give you exotic looks, if you will. But what they do, and historically where they've killed us, is to get up there in those looks, cover everybody, and then bring those safeties or nickels off the edges. If you remember last year, Eddie Pleasant, who isn't there, got us several times in the critical situation. Now they're using that young kid Reed to do that. So if you stay ahead in the count and you're ahead, you take some of that away. And then the second thing on the other side of the ball, if you have the lead and they're not able to really run the ball very well and they get forced into a have to drop back pass, as good as their quarterback is, and I think one of the critical things today is you have to have a rush plan for him. It can't be just go out and rush the passer. There has to be some real principles involved. But if you get ahead of them and they don't have a running game and he has to throw it and you literally keep him in the pocket, two things happen. His accuracy is much lower in the pocket than it is on the move. You don't want to let this guy move. You got to saw off his legs. In the pocket, he's around 50%. You get him out on the move, it's closer to 60. The other thing is their two offensive tackles are horrific. And so you can cave them in as long as you have some cover people so that he just can't move outside of them. And so they really get at a disadvantage if they get behind in the count on either side of the ball. So establish a lead is a critical desire this week.
All right, let's stay with the Colts offense against their defense. The Colts last week, Grady was just talking about this, 2 for 12 on third down. And their third downs, we had a 3rd and 3, a 3rd and 4, a 3rd and 5, a 3rd and 6, 2 3rd and 7s, 3 3rd and 8s, 2 3rd and 9s, and a 3rd and 18.
Yeah.
How do you protect against those two rushers when if they do end up being 3rd and 7 plus, and with the tackle situation where we are? We're not sure if Anthony Costanzo is going to play. He came back to practice, but if you're going with the same guys, we all know this, Coach, you can game plan for him a little bit, but now 4 weeks in a row, I think to find out that you're trying to, help those tackles a lot in the running game and in the passing game.
Yeah, I think, first of all, and this is what Frank was able to do great, and trust me, he's getting a lot out of average. He really is. And, obviously when it doesn't work like last week, you get praise when you win, you get the criticism when you lose. But, up until last week, he had done a magnificent job, in my opinion, of creating first and second down offense. And as you know and have chronicled, if you get in that 3rd and 4 or less, you have a 70% better chance than 3rd and 8. It's just history. It's the way it is. And he did a great job of that, and thus our third down was off the charts. It was number 1 by 10 percentage points because you were dealing in 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 1s, and he was doing a great job of dialing it up in those situations. When you get into 3rd and 8, that's a different deal now because you have to push the ball downfield, and that takes time to do it, and that is when you start to fall off. So, again, I'm going to go back, and I'm going to say you want to stay ahead of the count. Now, the way you do that is on first down, they're more stationary. Watt's almost always left on first down, and Clowney's right on the edge. Both of them, at that point, usually Watt is in a 5 and Clowney's out wide. So the thing you want to do is split them out a little bit. You want to get a little bit of line splits, and you want to come right down at that inside guy. Reader's a good nose, but he doesn't get off quick. The linebackers are okay, but not great. So you want to be able to hit directly and nickel and dime them with the run. Occasionally you want to toss, crack, and crack those edge guys. Come right in there and break Clowney's ribs and make the corners tackle. But when you go outside, you got to get Honey Badger and Jackson block. They feel like crazy. You got to make those corners play. You got to work on the inside. You got to work on the inside passing game on McKinney. McKinney is tough, blitzer, physical, stiff as a board on coverage. You want to go in there and run your option routes, run your drags, get him out in space. You want to displace some, put 21 in the game, split him out, see if they walk 41 out. If they walk Cunningham out, he has struggled out there. And then when the money's on the table, you want to go work on their – I think they'll probably match Joseph. Joseph is basically their right corner. You want to go to their left corner. Their left corner, whether it's Colvin or Wright, is really struggling. So that's how you direct the attack. If and when you fall behind in the count, if you fall behind in the count, they're going to play a lot of man-to-man coverage. So don't be afraid to still throw quick rhythm with a lot of stacks and bunches because you're liable to free somebody up like we have and run for the first down and still get the ball off quick. When you do throw deep, okay, you want to max protect you because they're going to be in all those exotic looks. They're going to bring 5. They're going to bring guys off the edge and create a triangle on the outside of the field that beats cover 3, cover 1, and cover 4, what we call 4 beaters, 3 beaters, 1 beaters. And the way to do that is run your vertical floods. Take the Z, whether you bunch him or don't bunch him, you run him on a Z on a skinny post. You run the second receiver on the corner, and then you bring the third receiver from across the field and run him on the flat. So you're going high, low, high, and you have a rub potential. If it's man-to-man, you can snap it off. But don't get into where you're going to go back and hold the ball. If you think you're going to do that with normal five-man protection, you're crazy. And you want to screen this team. You want to screen them. And I would not be afraid to run the old-fashioned dash play that was popular in our era, where the quarterback has a predetermined scramble where you pin those guys inside and you take them outside and push the ball downfield. So it's smart football on third down, but really and truly win first and second down.
Coach Rick Venturi, kind enough to join us on the Payless Liquors hotline here on 107.5 and 1070 The Fan. Coach, fans are getting excited, but they're still cautiously optimistic about whether or not they can fully believe in this defense. I know we've talked about it the last few weeks with you. They had the one drive where the go-ahead drive for Philadelphia that was long and a lot of penalties. But we've seen a lot of good things from this defense, and I think from a fan perspective, they're wondering how long should we give it before we fully believe in these young guys that are playing out of their minds.
Well, there's no question that they have exceeded our expectation. There is no doubt. And they've exceeded it because the bar was so low in the fall. I mean, anybody that, watched them in preseason had every reason to believe that they were going to struggle. I think as it's developed, and of course, taking Costanzo out of the mix really hurts, but I think gradually what's happened is our defensive players, our defensive personnel, and I was saying this about the secondary 3 weeks ago, is actually a little bit better than our offensive personnel. I don't think anybody would have said that in the preseason, but they're coming on. And what's changed is the cohesiveness that they played with and more discipline that they didn't have. And, of course, that's being new and young. And when you play a area zone defense, if you don't have everybody right in lockstep, there are holes. You can drive an SUV, you can pass an SUV in there, and so I think that's the good thing. The best thing that they've done, and I don't see any reason why this really changes as far as optimism, pessimism. Number one, they have done a really good job of not letting people take the lid off the defense. They have not given up, other than the A.J. Green post. They haven't given up plays over the defense. They've given up chunk plays, but they've been inside and in front of the defense. And so when you do that, you give yourself another chance. And then what they've done a good job, and they've done a good job of this since the very beginning, is when the team gets down in their red zone, especially down in that low red around the 15, those zones get better because they shrink. All the zones shrink. There's just not much. There's not much separation now between your linebackers, safeties, and corners. So the defense is at its best when the field is tightest, and that's where we've played very well from day one. So if you just take those two things, not piercing the defense deep and playing red zone defense, which I believe we can continue to do, okay, that keeps the point total down. And we're sitting there around 21 plus. 21 plus modern day football is a playoff defense. In my day, 8 to 10 years ago, you had to be at 17-5 to 18. Now it's 21. So they're up in that 13th spot. So they're very, very relevant. Now, what has been surprising, the two things that have been, well, not the two things, they're all interrelated. What has been surprising, I assume those two things were going to probably happen. But what has been better is we've played so much better up front than anticipated. We have done a really good job of disruption. I mean, and Marcus Hunt is a huge part of that. But we've been disruptive particularly in the passing game. I'm going to cover the run differently. In the passing game, we have done a great job of hitting those gaps and then running terrific line stunts, the exits, the Texas. We haven't done a lot of, it hasn't been a lot of like innovative stuff, but we've executed what we do very well, and that front four is getting after it. And, Hunt is probably, like we said last week, and he continues to validate it, the surprise player in the league. Toure is on the cusp. He's getting close as a DPR, and Sheard has been doing a real solid job as well. So we're getting that done. Also, I will give Eberflus credit and you can be lucky. You can be on a roll. You can be real good. Only time will tell. he's done a very good job of timely blitzes, of calling blitzes at timely situations, rather than just coming out and blitzing all day. He's basically held it, and he's basically gotten good pass pressure out of his blitzes. I mean, matter of fact, we'd like to put Leonard in the Hall of Fame, but his last 3 sacks have come totally unblocked. There's no one has touched him. Now, to his credit, he's able to break down. He didn't miss like Geathers did on that critical 3rd and 9 where you just come in and miss. Leonard has made every one of them count. So I'm not done, but I'm giving Eberflus the credit on that. And so I think that frontal disruption has been much better. And this defense, believe this coverage, demands rush, and that's what I didn't think we were going to get, that we are getting. You know, we are getting more pressure than I anticipated. Now, three things have to be there if we're going to continue to be better, because teams will figure you out. That this is an old defense. This is a defense. It's almost like he's jumped a cycle. This is a 1999 defense now. This isn't new, but it's actually kind of new because people have gotten away from it. So they'll recycle game plans. But here's what they got to do better. First of all, that was a putrid performance against the run Sunday. That was 150 yards against 2 JV backs. And what's killing us is the stunning that we're doing on 3rd down, the Texas and the exits on passing downs is great, but all those jams and pirates that we're doing to try to shore up the inside are killing us on the edge. So we give up a ton to Mixon, we give up a ton here, and a lot of that, if you look at the tape, is stunning ourselves right out of it. So, you know, if we're going to be better, we're going to have to play a little bit more straight up on 1st down and become a much better run defense team. And I would say, along with that, you got to prove over 16 Sundays that you can take away what teams do best. We didn't in Cincinnati, and we didn't take away the running game in San Francisco. So as good as it is, there's still a lot of improvement. And then I'd say the last thing, but this has to do with both offense and defense, is this team has to learn how to win in the 4th quarter. I mean, they had a drive from here to Dayton, Ohio, you know, and we get down 3rd and 3, 4th and 3 and can't get in. And so, you know, in 2 of the 3 games, we didn't finish the 4th quarter. You know, we're still 23rd on defense in the 4th quarter, and that's where we've lived. We've lived in the bottom for 3 years, and that's just got to be a team thing that we can finish. We did it certainly at Washington, but, you know, we have to do it week after week, because in this league, every game is going to be tight. Blowouts are an anomaly. They're all going to be tight, and they come down to 2 areas: red zone in the 4th quarter. That's what it really comes down to. We can talk about all the other stuff. You play there, you win.
Is Andrew where he needs to be?
You know, that's a good question, Joe. I think that I think it's what do you call it? You have overreaction Mondays.
Yep.
I think it's an overreaction on him, and I'll explain it this way. Do I think he has Geraldo's fastball? No. I mean, I didn't see it in training camp. I said I thought that he was throwing good enough to win. I didn't think that he had an Aroldis Chapman's fastball like he had before. And I think that's leveled off. I don't think that, you know, that's there. However, I really think that it's really not the issue here. The issue is that Frank is playing a whole different kind of game, because he's smart enough to understand that we can't win with the old way. We can't go back 7 steps and throw the ball downfield. First of all, we got nobody that can get there. When they press Hilton and we don't have him in a stack, he gets stuffed by Mills. All you can hope for is a jump ball. Grant can't run on the outside. So you have no vertical push, and then you're playing with tackles that are holding on to whatever, in that situation. What Frank has done is played close to the vest, making sure he can get it out, trying to inch first downs, and don't give it up. And the reason we were in that game last week, even though every single metric in football basically was dominated by the Eagles, 40 minutes of play to 20. But 3 things happened. 2 of them defense. 1, we kept that point down, didn't give up big plays. We played in the red zone. And then number 2, we didn't turn it over. And those 3 factors alone will give you a chance to do it. Now, I thought that he played it right down to the vest, even to where he took that 3 at the end. He really played conservative, but he knew his defense was good, so he went down in there and got the lead with 3. The only thing I would be critical of, Frank, and I hate to do this because I'm not as much of a criticize the play call because so much of that's result. You hit a screen, it goes for 100, it's great. It goes for nothing, it's bad. Is basically at the end of the game, I would question. I would not make those 2 calls on 3rd and 3 and 4th and 3. That's the only thing. But in terms of, and people are clamoring now for the deep ball. When we were throwing the deep ball and getting sacked every down, they wanted the quick rhythm. So what is it? What I give Frank the credit for is understanding exactly what he has and trying to win, even though it's not pretty. And the fact that our defense is playing better, Mike, like you asked me, that means you can actually play tighter at times because in years gone past, if you didn't score, you knew the other team was going to score as soon as they got the ball. So I think he's managing the game really well. I mean, I think he's doing a tremendous job without very much.
Again, Coach Rick Venturi, kind enough to join us on the Payless Liquors hotline. You've gone digital now. Let's promote the show for this upcoming week.
Digital, if you go to Colts.com, I have that offensive blueprint up yesterday, and so much of what we talked about is there. This afternoon at 1:00, the defensive game plan will be up, how to stop them. And then tomorrow morning at 9:00, we'll be revving them up a little bit.
Love it. Love it. Coach, thank you so much. We'll talk to you next week.
Thank you guys so much.
Coach Rick Venturi there on the Payless Liquors hotline. Plenty more to come. Pop quiz still on the way. Plus, Coach Bob Lovell will join us. Busy night tonight. High school football action and college football over the weekend. We're back in a moment here on 107.5 and 1070 The Fan.